You've heard the story. The greatest library in the ancient world, burned to the ground. Thousands, maybe millions of scrolls destroyed in a single tragic fire. But here's the thing. That's not quite what happened. Because the Library of Alexandria didn't just burn once. It was attacked multiple times. And it didn't vanish overnight. It faded, deliberately erased over centuries. There was no single villain, no conclusive fire. Only politics, religion, power, and a long war against knowledge itself. So what really happened to the Library of Alexandria? Today, on Shadows of History, we'll uncover the truth. What the library held, who tried to protect it, who wanted it gone, and why its destruction still echoes through history like the whisper of 1,000 voices. Lost. Part 1, the birth of the library. Let's go back to the 3rd century BCE. After the death of Alexander the Great, his empire shattered into competing kingdoms. One of those, Egypt, was ruled by his general Ptolemy I Soter, who had a bold vision to make Alexandria not just a trading hub, but the intellectual capital of the world. And at the heart of that dream, the Library of Alexandria. Located in the Mausion, or Temple of the Muses, the library was no ordinary archive. It was a living, breathing engine of knowledge. The goal? To collect every book, every scroll, every recorded thought from every culture, Greek, Egyptian, Babylonian, Indian, Hebrew, Persian, everything. Estimates vary wildly, but some say the library housed up to 500,000 scrolls at its peak. But what made the library so powerful wasn't just quantity, it was what it represented. A place where science, philosophy, religion, and poetry were studied side by side. A place where knowledge was sacred. Part 2, what was actually inside. What did they keep in the library? We'll never know for sure, but surviving references give us a tantalizing glimpse. Original works of Homer, possibly older than the versions we know, the writings of Zoroaster, Buddhist sutras, and lost texts from India and Mesopotamia, scientific treatises from Archimedes, Eratosthenes, and Hipparchus, early maps of the known world. A rumored copy of the Hebrew Bible translated into Greek, the Septuagint. This wasn't just a Greek library, it was global. Its scribes would even board ships at the Alexandria port, seize any books on board, make copies, and store the originals. Every scroll was catalogued, copied, translated, and preserved. It was the internet of the ancient world. And for a time, it worked. Part 3. The First Fire. Julius Caesar. Let's fast forward to 48 BCE. Julius Caesar has entered Alexandria during his campaign in Egypt. He's fighting on behalf of Cleopatra during her struggle with her brother Ptolemy XIII. In the chaos of battle, Caesar orders his ships burned to block the harbor. The fire spreads and reaches the docks and storehouses near the library. According to some accounts, tens of thousands of scrolls were lost, possibly stored in a warehouse connected to the library. But did this destroy the entire collection? Unlikely. Contemporary sources like Plutarch and Dio Cassius suggest only part of the library was damaged. The main building likely survived. Still, this was the first major blow, and a signal that war and knowledge rarely coexist peacefully. Part 4, Rise of the Serapeum, and the second wave. After the first fire, the library's function shifted. Some scrolls were relocated to the Serapeum, a temple to the Greco-Egyptian god Serapis. It acted as a kind of backup site for the library. By the 2nd century CE, however, Egypt was fully under Roman control. And while Roman emperors like Hadrian supported learning, tensions began to grow. Religious shifts were underway, and the old temples, including the Serapeum, were becoming symbols of paganism. In 391 CE, the Roman Emperor Theodosius I issued a decree banning pagan practices. The result? The Serapeum was destroyed, its scrolls burned, looted, or lost. This wasn't just a fire. It was ideological erasure, a war between rising Christianity and the polytheistic past. And it took the library down with it. Part 5. Hypatia and the Final Blow. The last great figure tied to the library was a woman, a philosopher, astronomer, and mathematician named Hypatia. She taught in Alexandria in the early 5th century, preserving Greek philosophy and science. She was beloved by students, Christian and pagan alike, and was seen as a symbol of reason. But in 415 CE, amid political and religious unrest, Hypatia was accused of heresy and murdered by a mob of zealots. Her death marked the end of Alexandrian scholarship as the world had known it, not with a final fire, but with violence, fear, and silence. By the 6th century, the library was gone, not in flames, but in forgotten rooms, ignored shelves, and broken minds. Part 6. What we lost. So what was truly lost in Alexandria? We'll never know exactly, but historians speculate we lost a full history of Babylonian astronomy, early medical texts from India and Egypt, treatises on geometry, navigation, and mechanics, lost plays by Euripides, Sophocles, and more. Possibly the earliest scientific studies of electricity, weather, and magnetism. More than scrolls, we lost perspectives, comparisons, and centuries of knowledge building. We lost the continuity of thought, a thread of human understanding that had to be rediscovered piece by piece during the Renaissance. Part 7. Who was to blame? There's a tendency to blame one event or group for the library's destruction. Was it Caesar, the Christians, the Muslims? The truth is more complex and more tragic. The Library of Alexandria died not once, but multiple times, burned accidentally in wartime, silenced intentionally by religion, dismantled politically, forgotten by culture. It wasn't one villain. It was a slow erosion, accelerated by fear, change, and shifting priorities. If anything, the lesson isn't who to blame. It's how easy it is to lose everything we know without even realizing it. Part 8. Could the library rise again? There have been efforts to reclaim Alexandria's legacy. In 2002, the Bibliotheca Alexandrina was opened in Egypt, a modern library built near the ancient site. It holds millions of books, digital archives, and international scholarship centers. But more than a building, the idea of the library is what endures, a place where borders don't define access, belief doesn't limit study, and preservation is prioritized over politics. Could we ever recreate it? Technically, yes. Philosophically, that's up to us. The echoes of a lost library. The Library of Alexandria wasn't just a building. It was a promise that knowledge could be shared, that wisdom could be preserved, that the flame of inquiry could outlast the darkness. But promises, like scrolls, are fragile. The real tragedy isn't just that it was destroyed, it's that it was allowed to disappear. So the next time you open a book, search online, or ask a question, remember the voices that were lost and the ones we still carry. Because history isn't just what survives, it's what we fight to keep alive. This is Shadows of History. If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel And in the comments, tell us what other forgotten places deserve to be remembered.